Hi, happy leap day! Today is an extra day in February, so today I'm going to do eggs. I'll do back to basic eggs. I have fried egg, Overeasy, hard-boiled eggs, and poached eggs. And want to go over some egg myths first. When I was growing up, we were told eat one egg a day. If you ate too many, your cholesterol goes up. Well, in reality, your body creates cholesterol, so the more eggs you eat, your body reduces the cholesterol it makes. It tries to keep the same amount. Also, there's another myth about eggs is that when you test for freshness, you put eggs in water. And if it floats, it's bad. Well, that's not true. It just means there's more air in the air sac and it's not as fresh. So it's a fresh egg or not a fresh egg, but it does not mean it's a bad egg. So some people will put the egg in water. If it floats, they throw it out. To me, that's a waste of food. Enough of my ranting, so on to the recipes. The back to basic egg recipes for this extra day in February 29th, 2020. So live an extraordinary life, extraordinary day, and hope it's excellent. Eggs over easy. I have a half a tablespoon of butter melting over medium heat and one whole egg or one large egg. So typically with Overeasy eggs, I like to cook it low and slow so the egg whites don't turn rubbery. Another way to do it, some people like, is to brown the eggs over higher heat and you get a nice crispy brown egg white. But this is the typical diner egg, low and slow. So the egg white is melted, the butter is starting to bubble a little. So the best way to crack an egg is you could crack it off the edge or on a flat surface. Get a little crack and just pour it onto the pan. So egg white's starting to solidify. So typically the fresher the egg, the tighter the egg white, and the eggs I have are probably a week old, so the egg whites are a little more runnier. So still on medium heat. You could see that the whites are slowly coagulating. And what I'm going to do is make an Overeasy egg. Overeasy means I'll flip once and the egg yolk will still be runny. You'll know when it's time to flip the egg when the egg white or egg white is solidified. Right now you could still see sort of the clear yolk. I don't know if you could see, but the egg white is starting to firm up around the yolk. So now I'm going to flip it. Okay, that's the Overeasy egg. That should be done. I'll plate it. Here's how it looks flipped over. Nice white yolk. You could see it's a little still runny in the center. The next egg I'm going to make is Overhard, where the egg yolk is cooked. Turn the heat back up a little. So with an Overhard egg, since you're wanting the yolk to be cooked in the center, what I've done in the past is just break the yolk. And that will help cook the egg faster, and you don't care about the shape of the yolk since you're wanting it over hard. Alright, here we have an Overeasy egg. The egg yellow, the egg yolk still should be runny right there. And then you have the Overhard egg, and the egg yolk should be on the firm side. I don't know if you could see that or not, but there you are. Alright, the next recipe we're making is hard-boiled eggs. It's starting out with cold water, and there's about an inch of water above the egg. And what I've also done is poke a hole on the fat side of the egg on the top so the air from the air sac could escape. So there are two ways to cook hard-boiled eggs. One is to just boil the heck out of them, and another method that I guess the eggsperts have recommended is to bring the water to boil, cover, and move it off the hot burner and let it sit for 15 minutes. I've done it that way, and I've just boiled for 8 minutes, and the results seem pretty close to me. So I just typically put the eggs in cold water, bring it to a boil, turn it down, but keep it on the heat for 8 minutes while it's still boiling. In terms of, I don't know if you see the bubbles from the hole, so the air from the air sac is bubbling out, and what happens there is when you crack the egg should fill the entire volume of the egg shell and give you a nice oval shape, versus sometimes you'll crack an egg and the top is kind of still indented from the air sac. And when the water comes to boil, or as it's coming to boil, I like to stir the egg to sort of center the yolk in the middle of the eggshell. I don't know if you've come across it where you just boil an egg and then when you open it up, the egg yolk is all to one side of the egg. At least when you're stirring, you kind of recenter the egg before the egg whites solidify. Alright, the water is coming up to a simmer. You could tell by the little bubbles starting to form around the egg and at the bottom of the pan. It's not quite full boil yet, but I'm going to stir the eggs to try to make sure the yolk is centered. Alright, the egg's been boiling for about 8 minutes. Here I have a batch of ice water. I don't know if you guys ever run into eggs with the green ring around the egg yolk. That means the egg's been cooked too long, where the egg has not been cooled quick enough. By cooling the boiled eggs really quick, the egg yolk should remain bright yellow. Alright, here's the hard-boiled egg. It's been in the water about a minute, 90 seconds to 90 seconds. So the key to cracking an egg is to try to crack all around the circumference of the egg, and then it should be easier to peel. This is where the air sac is. Notice how it's a nice rounded edge, versus sometimes eggs will have a flat top. Also, with eggs are easy to peel when they're older. If you buy them fresh from the store, the membrane will stick to the egg. And I should rinse this under water, but I just want to show you the results. So I expect the center to be bright yellow with no green ring. There it is. Looks like a perfect egg. Okay, our third recipe for the Eggstra leap day in February is poached eggs. What I have here is 3 inches of water in a large pot. Usually you poach more than one egg, but I'm just going to do one for demonstration. The water is at a light simmer. There's not a rolling boil. It's just barely boiling. And what I did was crack the egg into a bowl so it's easier to pour into the water. You just bring it up and just drop it in. And then I have a spatula. I'll let this sit a while. Sometimes it'll stick to the bottom. I'll let this set up and then I'll just scrape it so the egg will start to float. Cooking time is usually 4 minutes, depending on how hard you want the yolk to be cooked. The egg's been in the water about 2 minutes. It's starting to want to float. Also, the transparent egg whites are starting to turn opaque, and just slowly go under the egg and try to coax it off the bottom. It's wanting to float. Alright, cooking time has been about 4 minutes. And I'm gonna just fish the water out. You use a slot or fish the egg out with a slotted spoon. And you could take a look. The whites are cooked. The yolk, you could tell it's still soft. Then you want to drain on a paper towel lined plate. So it's up to personal preference on how firm you like the yolk cooked. Alright, another approach to poaching eggs is to add a little vinegar to the water. This recipe I got from Julia Childs. She adds actually 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 2.5 tablespoons of vinegar. And I've tried this before, and you really don't taste the vinegar, but the vinegar is supposed to help the egg whites firm up quicker. And slowly drop the egg into the water. I don't know if it's hard to tell since the water is a little cloudy, but the egg white did not spread as much this time compared to the first time I put the egg in. Again, I'm going to cook this about 4, maybe 5 minutes. As with the previous poached egg, it's starting to want to float, so I'm just going to take a little spatula and go underneath the egg and see if it's stuck to the bottom of the pan. So now it's free floating egg as you see it moving around. Alright, the egg has been in there for about 4.5 minutes. And then as with the previous one, I'm going to take it out and drain the water. All right, after the poached egg has been drained, some people get fancy and trim it to make it nice and neat, but I don't know. I'm not that fancy. So this is ready to go. I have fried egg, Overeasy, hard-boiled eggs, and poached eggs.